Hello and welcome to Notes and Notions. Today I would like to talk to you about one ancient, well not so ancient, but about Japanese healing technique called Reiki. I don't know if you heard about it before, but it's a very interesting one and I had some experience with it. So I would like to share with you my experience and to get to know you with this healing technique. So let's start with the basic. What is Reiki really? Reiki is an energy healing technique that comes from Japan, and its focus is on balancing the body's energy to promote better health, to reduce stress, and also to support healing. The word Reiki comes from Japanese, actually from two Japanese words, rei, which means universal, and ki or chi, which means life energy. So literal translation would be universal life energy. It is based on the idea that everything around us is energy, that we are energy, and that energy flows through all living things. So when that energy is blocked or unbalanced, it can really have effect on our emotional and our physical health. So Reiki aims to restore that balance. Reiki, as we know it today, was developed in Japan in the early 1900s by Mikao Usui. He was a Buddhist monk that said that he rediscovered ancient healing process after a deep spiritual experience during a 21-day meditation and fast. And Mikao Usui, from there, developed a healing that combined spiritual practices and hand position with energy work. Now, if you ever Googled Reiki, you could find a different types of Reiki, and maybe that can be confusing for you. So let's talk briefly about the differences between different schools of Reiki, let's call it that way. So first one is Usui Reiki, and it was developed by Mikao Usui. It is the foundation of all other Reiki schools or practices. Tibetan Reiki is the type of Reiki that I learned. Tibetan Reiki incorporates some Buddhist symbols and practices together with, and it has such a more stronger focus on chakras. For example, treatments in Tibetan Reiki often begin from the crown chakra that is on top of your head, rather than from the heart chakra, which is more common in Usui Reiki. Karuna Reiki developed later and focuses on compassion and uses additional symbols to amplify healing energy and emotional release. Then we have Holy Fire Reiki. This is a newer form, and that form actually blends traditional Usui Reiki and some modern approaches. The focus of Holy Fire Reiki is more on the spiritual healing and connection. So these are just some of the types or schools of Reiki, but the most famous ones are Usui Reiki and Tibetan Reiki. The important thing to say here is that core principles of Reiki remain the same across all these styles. They each have their unique symbols and area of focus, but it's like you're going to the top of the mountain and you're just using the different path. The aim is the same, the goal is the same: balance, healing, and deeper connection to universal energy. So I mentioned earlier that Reiki has 5 core principles, and they are very important in the practice. They are kind of a foundation of the practice. And these principles are here to guide Reiki practitioners towards more balanced and mindful life. So they are not just principles. Reiki is a way of living. It's not just, it can be, but it's not just a healing technique. So these 5 principles are: just for today, do not be angry. Just for today, do not worry. Just for today, be grateful. Just for today, do your work honestly. Just for today, be kind to every living thing. These principles aren't rules, but rather reminders to help us live more peaceful life, to have more awareness, and to have more balance. I also mentioned chakras earlier, and for those who have maybe heard of it but don't know much about it, let's just briefly go through chakras. So what are the chakras? Chakras are energy centers in the body, and they play a key role in Reiki and other energy healing practices. They originate from ancient Indian traditions and are often described as spinning wheels of energy that regulate our physical, emotional well-being. So we have root chakra. It's located on the base of the spine, and it is associated with stability, with security, with feeling grounded. Then we have a sacral chakra. Its location is in lower abdomen, and it is associated with emotions, with creativity and sexuality. After that, we have solar plexus. It's located in upper abdomen, and it is associated with confidence, with power, with motivation. Next one is heart chakra, in the center of the chest, of course, and it is associated with love, with compassion, with connection. Then we have throat chakra. It is associated with self-expression and with communication, with telling the truth, your truth. And then we have a third eye chakra, which is associated with intuition, insight, and wisdom, and it's between the eyebrows. At last, we have crown chakra on the top of our head, and it is associated with higher consciousness and spiritual connections. If there is a blockage in any of these chakras, that can affect our well-being. At least that is what Reiki practitioners believe. During a Reiki session, energy flows through these centers, and it helps us to remove stagnation and to restore the balance. My personal Reiki journey started in 2016, or maybe even a year before that, in 2015. I've heard about, in 2015, I've heard about Reiki, but I really didn't take any further interest in it. I never thought that I would try it or that I would learn how to do it. And in 2015, when my mom got sick from cancer, I really, tried all the regular and alternative way of treatments. So I reached out to my former colleague who was practicing Reiki. I knew that from, I think, some Facebook posts. And I told her if she can help my mom, if we can come and she can give her a treatment. She said, yes, of course. But before she starts giving my mom any treatments, we should go and see her so she can explain to us how does it work, what is it, etc., etc. For some strange reason, I don't have explanation for it, but my mom and I never left to see that former colleague of mine, and my mom never received a Reiki treatment. A year later, she died, and I'm not saying that she died because she didn't receive Reiki treatment, but she died, she passed away. And maybe a month or two after that, that former colleague reached out to me. I know it was through Facebook Messenger. And she said, I'm so sorry for your loss and everything. And she said she started to teach Reiki. She became a Reiki teacher. And she offered me to come and, for free, try and learn a level 1 of Tibetan Reiki. I said yes. I was in, very, very strange place in my head, and I took it as some kind of a sign. So I said yes, and I went and I learned and I got attuned, that's how you call it, to level 1 Reiki. And after finishing my level 1, I started giving myself treatments every day. That's what you're supposed to do. And very early on, I felt really good. I felt calm, but at the same time, very energized. And also around this time, I began treatment for endometriosis, which put me in artificially induced menopause for several months. Every woman I spoke to who had undergone the same treatment told me about very bad side effects. So sweating, insomnia, bad skin, weight gain, the list went on. So I was mentally prepared for the same situation. But my teachers told me that Reiki actually reduces the side effects of any medication. So while I was on the treatment, I practiced Reiki every day. I was very disciplined about it. Every night for an hour, I gave myself Reiki treatments. And I have to say that I felt great. I didn't gain weight. My skin was glowy. I didn't have bad hot flashes, maybe a few times. And, even then I said, okay, maybe it is because of the Reiki, and maybe it's just my body's reaction to that medication. And even though I saw results in my life, and there was one situation with my grandma who was in a hospital after she had a stroke, and she couldn't talk properly. She didn't even fully recognize me. She was, a bit lost in her mind, which is normal after you have a stroke. And I remember I was in her room in the hospital. There was nobody around us. She was alone in the room. And I was like, okay, let me try Reiki, to give her Reiki treatment. I did it for, maybe 20 minutes. And after 1 hour, she started communicating and talking normally. At that moment, I was still skeptical. I was like, okay, I don't know, is it really Reiki or is it just coincidence? But that moment really stood out for me. And after that, results kept piling up. And at one moment, I really couldn't ignore all the evidence in my own life that Reiki was working. So for a year, I was only experimenting on myself, and I saw that it works, and it works for me. It worked for me even though I was skeptical about it. Soon after level 1, I took the next step and I completed the level 2 as well. With level 2, I also learned about Reiki symbols, and Reiki symbols are basically tools to increase the flow of energy. And what is important for level 2 is that I could give Reiki treatments to others, to friends, colleagues, and whoever wants. So when I reached level 2, I was so excited. I felt amazing, honestly, and I wanted everyone around me to feel the same. So I was constantly talking about Reiki and offering treatments to friends, to colleagues, and pretty much to everyone who would listen. And first, people were, curious but hesitant. And I would explain what is Reiki and all the benefits that it brings. I would talk about my personal experience with it. But I think I made a mistake by offering too freely and too eagerly. Because when you give something for free, people don't always know how to appreciate it. Some of them tried it, but since we were not setting any real intention behind the treatment, the session didn't lead to anything significant. And speaking about intentions, it is very important to stress out that intention is, in my humble opinion, one of the crucial things in Reiki. So it's not about just healing your body. Yes, you can set the intention before the treatment to heal your body, but you can also send a good energy or heal some things in your past, or send a good Reiki energy to the future events. Also, you can use it to cleanse your living space or to send good energy for some certain situation. And when we are setting the intention, we always set it up for the greater good of us or of the people, of the person that we are giving Reiki to. Because in that way, we are making sure that we are not harming anyone. So you cannot harm anybody with Reiki treatment. The worst thing that can happen is that treatment will simply the treatment won't work. Meaning, if there are some lessons that you need to learn, and that's why you in some specific situation, or you're experiencing some pain in your body or some sickness, we should not interfere with that. So that's why we always say, okay, if it is for the greater good of so and so, and if it's not, let this energy just go to the earth. So that's very important to stress out when we are talking about Reiki. At least it is important to me. There was one session that really shook me. A friend of a friend asked me for a treatment. I didn't know her well, but she had very difficult past, and she asked for help. I couldn't refuse her. And so we set up a really serious intention for that session. And I explained to her that sometimes Reiki triggers a cleansing process, especially if you are carrying a lot of emotional or psychological baggage. It is different for everyone, but it can bring up emotions or discomfort before things improve. And I told her how to handle it. I told her that it won't last long and it will pass, and just to relax, to breathe, to walk, just to go with it. So we did the treatment, and just as I explained, she went through a tough cleansing period. When I say tough cleansing period, I mean she wasn't in a mood to be around other people. She wanted to be alone. She felt the need to cry. It didn't last long, but it was intense, and she really struggled with it. I was there to give her support, but despite everything, she became angry with me, and she even said something like, "What did you do to me?" And it really hurt, since she was the one who approached me and asked for treatment. So that experience also taught me something, and it made me step back and rethink how I approach Reiki. I realized I couldn't just offer it to anyone, even if my intentions are good. So people need to be ready for it, and they need to want it, and for the right reasons. So after that, I stopped talking about Reiki so much. I decided I would only offer treatments to people who genuinely ask for it. And over time, I also learned to sense when someone is just curious and when somebody really, really wants the treatment. I also established a rule. There had to be some kind of energy exchange, because I wasn't charging those Reiki treatments. I would ask people to come to my house instead me going to them. And that small effort on their part created some kind of sense of balance, because not everybody wanted to come to my house. They didn't want to make an effort and come to my house and receive treatments. So that's how I divided people who really wanted it and who are just curious about it. And let me say, there's nothing wrong to be curious about it. That's why I'm recording this video about it. But I would just say that you should not waste time of the Reiki therapist or practitioner, because it takes time for preparation, for doing the session. So we should be mindful of that. So I think now it's a good time to talk about what's actually happening during the Reiki session. So when you come in for a Reiki session, the first thing we will talk about it. Why do you need Reiki session? What is intention? What should we focus on? Or etc. You don't need to know much about Reiki or to have a specific goal. We can find that goal through our conversation, but it helps to have a general idea of what you like to focus on. It could be physical, emotional, or even just feeling more balanced. The treatment is very simple. You will either lie down or sit comfortably in the chair, fully clothed. I will place my hands lightly on or just above specific areas on your body, your chakras, and I would just moving through. Oh, my camera is moving with me. Okay, tracks. Moving through a series of position. I fixed my camera now. So you don't have to do anything except relax. Some people close their eyes or even fall asleep. That's okay. It's perfectly fine. Some people like to talk and tell me how they feel during the session. That's also fine. So the experience is different for everyone. Some people will feel like warmth in the area where my hands are placed, or they will feel tingling or some kind of waves of relaxation. So like I said, it really depends and it varies from person to person. Also, there are people who don't feel anything physical, and but they just notice the sense of clarity or calm after the treatment. And I think there are some sessions, some self-treatments that I gave to myself that I didn't feel any physical sensation in my body. And what's interesting is that Reiki energy goes where it's needed the most. So even if we set the intention on one thing, the energy might flow to something deeper that your body or mind is ready to address. And when I was starting, I was really I was doing the treatments in the way that I was taught. I would put some music, with some relaxing music with a timer. I would hear the bells every 3 minutes, which it was indicating to me that I need to change the position of my hands. But the more and more I practice, now I just do it intuitively. I use my intuition. I feel in my hands where the areas where I need to stay longer or where I can just move quickly. So as a practitioner, my role is to act as a channel for that energy. So I don't give my energy, or I don't use the receiver's energy. Instead, I'm using energy from around me, universal energy, and I'm staying, centered and allowing that energy to flow through me and into the recipient. Sometimes, as I'm working, I feel a change in the energy. Sometimes I feel that it's warmer or colder or heavier or more active, and through time, I learn how to read those signals. So every practitioner would know where to stay longer, where to put more symbols, or to give a stronger treatment. I'm not trying to control anything. I'm just I'm following the flow, and I'm just creating a space for energy to flow and for healing to happen. After a session, we will take a moment or two to talk about it. To talk about how you feel, if anything come up during the treatment. And I always encourage people to, whatever they feel during the treatment, if they want to cry, to cry. If they want to laugh uncontrollably, to laugh uncontrollably. I encourage them to follow every sensation that they're feeling in the moment. If they want to sleep, go sleep. If you want to talk. Whatever is coming to you, just follow that. And some people feel the effects immediate after the session. For others, it takes a bit longer, a few hours or a day after, or gradually over the next few days. And duration of every treatment is from 30 minutes to 60 minutes, depending on the severity of intention and situation. After attuning to level 1, I decided again to take the next step, and I attuned to level 3, and I became a Reiki master. With this new level, I received additional symbols to work with, learned some new techniques, and also learned about working with crystals, which was very interesting to me, and it is something that I use in my practice today. But here's the thing, I'm not sure even now, that I was fully prepared to attune to level 3 back then. Because after that attunement, quickly something shifted in me, and I felt some kind of resistance, almost like a blockade, and I couldn't bring myself to practice Reiki daily as I used to. And I decided, okay, I would just let it go instead of forcing it, because through Reiki practice, I learned that you cannot force things, and you should not force things. And I said, okay, maybe this is just part of my journey right now, and I left it at that. Luckily, recently, something shifted again, and I found myself returning to Reiki more and more, and I'm really happy about it. I'm still trying to figure out what happened then, what caused that resistance, but for now I'm just, following the flow. And even though I haven't practiced daily for myself Reiki, over the years I still worked with people who needed and who wanted treatments. We had good results, but I became more private about my Reiki practice. I didn't share with many people that I was a Reiki master. And over time I noticed that there are a lot of misconceptions about Reiki, and those misunderstandings made me even more cautious when I talk about it. So I've heard some really crazy ones, and I would like to address some of them. One of them was that Reiki is a devil's job, like devil's thing, it's magic, it's religion. So I need to stress out that Reiki is a practice that works with energy, the same energy that is present everywhere in the world, everywhere around us. And it doesn't belong to any particular belief system, and it doesn't require for you to believe in God, in Allah, in whomever, in anything. You can be an atheist. You don't have to believe in anything for Reiki to work. So there's no any connections with magic or with religion, or let alone devil's work. Like I said before, you don't have to believe in it to work. I worked even with people who were completely skeptical about it, and they still experienced result, because it's not about fate, it's only about the energy flow. Reiki doesn't replace medicine or medical treatments. Instead, it works alongside those medical treatments. It's a complementary medicine, you can call it like that. It's supporting your body's natural healing process. In fact, in many countries, it's officially recognized as a form of complementary medicine. And I've heard that, for example, in the hospital in Sweden, you can receive Reiki treatment alongside your medical. There were numbers of studies, I don't know how many studies, that really tested and show that Reiki can bring benefit into your life, to your health, and to your body. It's not about controlling the outcomes. It's not magic. Like I said, intention matters. It's not a magic wand that can help everything in your life. It's just about aligning with things that are best for you and what serves your greater good. And maybe I've also heard that people think it's intense. And although cleansing process can be intense, it's one of the gentlest practices I've encountered, because during the session, you're just laying down and the practitioners only channel energy through their hands. So when people bring these misconceptions, I really try to approach them with patience. I explain what Reiki is, and I share my experience with it. My intention is not to convince someone who isn't ready to understanding, but just to explain things and share the things I know. One of the things that Reiki taught me is to slow down, to trust the process, to believe that even in the difficult moments, there is something valuable to learn. And it really saved me in a way, because when I started practicing and learning Reiki, I was in a really bad place in my life. I lost my mom, I lost my grandma, and I was, I had some struggles with my health. So it really helped me to slow down, to go through all of that as calm as possible. I gained a different perspective on life and everything that is happening in life. So that was my journey with Reiki, how I discovered it, what I've learned. It's not something I planned to get in, and honestly, there were times when I doubted. I know that Reiki isn't for everyone, and that is okay. But if these episodes made you curious, I would encourage you to try it yourself, maybe try a session, or simply just pay attention to how energy moves through your body. And if you have any thoughts or questions, or even your own experiences with Reiki, I would be glad to learn about them. So please share it. And again, if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share it with somebody who might find it interesting. I hope this episode will have more watch time than my previous episode about astrology. 6 people watched it, and the average watch time was 18 seconds. So thank you for listening, and until next time, stay open, stay curious, and take care. Bye.